Again to this show, the Oregon Voters Digest. I'm Bruce Broussard, your host. Well, folks, here it is. There it is right in front of you. The Voters Pamphlet. It's time, folks, right around the corner. I mean, Sunday next, at some point in time, Sunday next, we're going to be talking about, guess what? We're going to be talking about 2 days before the election day.
Yeah.
You got me? And that's it. So really, Sunday's the last day. We'll probably be talking about predictions during that particular time, okay? Again, Voters Day.
I predict that you win. I'm going to say that right now.
Gee whiz, there we go. There we go again. We're right there. As you can see, people are stressed out. We've got a guest with us today, a young man that's right. I'm talking about the county. Because, by the way, we've invited all sorts of guests. But in all due respect, they don't show up. You know, we only take the people who are really positive and really want to say something, okay? The bottom line is very simple. We're talking about the county today. There's another person who's running who I think, a millennial, if you will, from the community, not district number 2, but the chair of Multnomah County. He's running for the chair of Multnomah County. His name is Chuck Crockett. And I thought maybe you need to meet this young man. I tell you what, I'm looking forward to working with him as time goes. But the bottom line, he stood up and he filed. He filed to run for office. And as far as I'm concerned, one of the reasons why we're doing this, I'm excited because, in all due respect, the issue of our young men within the community has always been the issue, identifying them as gang members and things of that nature. Well, the bottom line, folks, we need mentorship. And we need role models aspect of it. And so that's exactly why we're doing what we're doing today. I got Fred here, my sidekick. He's co-host today. And we're going to give this young man an opportunity to share his thoughts, his feelings of why he's running and this, that, and the other. Then we'll take a break, and then Fred and I'll get together, and Fred will kind of drill me a bit about what the campaign is all about and what do I bring to the table. Okay, with that, why don't we just go on, Fred, and let's introduce this young man. And Chuck, how you doing?
I'm good. How about you, Bruce?
Good. Well, tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we're going to be asking some questions real quick.
Oh, yeah.
Speak up a little louder. Speak up a little louder. There you go.
Oh.
Okay, there you go. Keep going.
Let me go ahead
There you
and talk
go.
up.
Yeah,
I normally do talk a little bit.
Is that right? Well, speak up now.
No, speak up.
Well, I'm Chuck Crockett, as you
All right.
said. I'm running for county chair. You know, I'm from the Northeast Portland community. That's where I was born and raised. And so watching the gentrification and watching everything that's been going on with the mayor and the county and everything is what made me file. Like I said, a lot of people think I filed because Loretta Smith got called to be it, and that's not why I filed. I filed way before that, months before that. So.
Okay, good. All right. Well, tell us a little bit more about yourself. I mean, well, give me some feel. Give me a feel for the background. You've been in the community how long? How long you been there?
Well, I see, my mom's owned her house there for 16 years.
16 years?
16 years in North.
Crockett?
Yeah, Crockett.
Awesome.
In the Woodlawn
Like
community.
Davy.
What's that?
Like Davy Crockett.
Davy Crockett?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay, all right.
Yeah, we
go back a ways.
Yeah, we're trying to figure out that connection.
All right. Okay. So, what do you think about the community? You're running for the chair of the Multnomah County aspect of it. That's quite a job, if you will.
Oh,
You
yeah,
got my point. And the fact of the matter is, when you start thinking about where you live in District Number 2, you know that's a big area too.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that's basically that's where you've been residing for many years. But that, in all due respect, when you think about it, that's really where most of the issues really lie, right? You got me?
Oh, yeah.
Well, let's talk about this. I said that to you before. We got our young people in there, you know, in all due respect, young African American males, and there's always an issue about police and this, that, and the other, and this. And what do you think about that? What can you do maybe to bring a solution to that issue?
Well, as far as the police issue, I mean, it's just how, you know, just the history of police. Everybody knows the police are slave bounty hunters. So, I mean, I think that's a situation that needs to be addressed first off and foremost. And it's the policies that go with how the police treat each other.
Okay.
And the DA's backing them and the judges backing them. And it's just the whole lineup of everything, the buddy system that they have.
Okay.
And it's, you know, the way people view us, you know, stereotyping us, the media, so on and so forth. So when the police get that opportunity to racially profile African American or anyone, then they take advantage of that and they can go back and say, oh, that was probable cause. And so I think that once you break down that whole aspect of how they are defining us, then they'll be changed to view us differently. I don't think they'll change how they conduct themselves, but I think that it'll have to change the way they are, you know, basically encountering us, how they start to encounter us. You know, I think that, you know, as far as us, you know, as people, you know, we need, like, you know, more businesses and everything and so on before. But like I said, it's mostly the policies and, you know, the stereotyping that goes into how we're being treated by the police.
Okay. Now, as you know, as county chair, if you're elected county chair, you're really responsible for the jail.
Oh, yeah.
you know, the jails. That's where we are, right?
Oh, yeah.
You got me? And then the vetting of those folks and whatever.
Oh, yeah.
So the police actually works out of the city.
Oh, yeah.
City's office aspect of it. But you would be at the table.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're housing folks. If
Oh,
you will.
oh, yeah, oh, yeah, yeah.
So what would you say to them and to the mayor over there, because you're going to be working side by side with this person? What do you feel that the city should be doing to resolve some of those issues that you were bringing up, that you brought up?
Oh, with the police?
Yeah.
I
What do
mean,
you think?
first
What do
of
you
all,
think
if
they
you
should
think about, you know, they spent what $200 million was the last budget, and they're due to redo the budget again, you know, and they just said that they don't even know why they're pulling over. Oh, sorry, they don't even know why they're pulling over. you know, 40 to 60% of the areas they're pulling over African Americans, and we're only 6% of the population, and they're talking about they don't know why. You know, he needs to address that. You know why? It's because they're being racist. You know, so he needs to address that.
You got a black man voice. Feel free to use it, man.
Oh, you know,
Let it flow.
I'm soft spoken. You know, I got a lot of knowledge, but I'm soft spoken.
But
Let it out.
But see, I missed him when I was in the Marine Corps, but he was a little younger when I was recruiting, because I would have got him.
If he was 4 years younger, I would say you got to join the Marines. You got to get that. You got some bass in your voice. Let it out.
He's good. He's good. He's a solid dude. He's gonna warm up. That's why we got him on 2 pieces. We'll get him down here next week sometime.
Now, what would you do as county chair
Yeah.
to address that issue about how the police basically profile people and treat people in Portland?
Oh, you change the policies. You change the policies that they use to get away with all that. And once you change the policies, it forces the way they conduct themselves. And once they have to conduct themselves differently, it'll become basically routine, because that's what they're on right now. They're on routine of acting this way. And when you change the routine of being able to act that way, then you'll change the behavior.
So that means you would work closely with the mayor.
Oh yeah, I mean, work closer with the mayor and with the DAs. You know, like I said, the DA is always, the police get to review their footage before they write reports. The police get to do this. Hey, no, they don't get to do that. You know, they're human beings, and when they're interacting with other human beings, you need to value the other citizen just as much as you're valuing the police, the law enforcement. So that's where, me as far as chair, that's where I'm going to push the line, is with the judges and the DAs, where I can put my foot down. You know, as far as that aspect. Because they're on the backside protecting everything they do, and they're influencing the policies more than anything, especially the lawmakers. So that's what I would.
You know that other part about that youth piece, because county does get involved with the youth. You know that aspect of it. And Loretta Smith had basically, she had this youth program aspect of it, and that's, we talk about jobs here. And when you start thinking about the jobs aspect of it, how do you think you'd approach that? You know, naturally, you need to eat.
Oh yeah.
You got to eat, right?
Oh yeah.
You got to eat, right?
You got to eat.
So we got all these young folks, and she basically had summer jobs. But also, they're saying now that the county should get involved with the schools. We got the largest school district here in the state of Oregon, Portland Public Schools, and they don't have voc ed. You know, voc ed, basically getting trash. So my point is that would that be something that you might, as chair, consider?
Oh yeah, I think that the trades, they need to be back in the school. You know, I think that's one of the things that we're lacking, is the training before college. You know, everybody's been funneled into college to go accept debt, and they don't have any basic skills to even go and feed themselves before they can even go to college. So they're just going in to just fall behind, and it's harder for them to survive. You know, if I'm going out into the world and all I have is McDonald's skills, or you know, customer service
Can't feed a
skills,
family with
basic
that.
skills. Yeah, you can't. You can say you can't.
Would you include in the vocational ed skills to make beer and skills to grow marijuana?
Yeah, I would.
I would.
I definitely, of course, I would. You know what I mean? I was like I say, you have to. You know what I mean? That's why I said that program with the summer jobs for the kids. You have to do that, and I also think that, you know, business ownership should be something that they learn too. You know, how to be, you know, a business owner. That's something that really, I think, is lacking. You know, in the community.
Good.
No, it is.
In the city, in the county, I mean, that nobody wants to be. You know, they're just taking out work.
So you're talking about, this is coming from a 29-year-old man that's got employees already.
Right. That's what I'm
think
saying.
about it.
That's what I'm
29,
saying.
and he's already created a job.
I mean, I'm so glad that he filed. He filed to run for office. You know what I mean? I met him when the B word came out there.
Oh, yeah.
But I jumped out there up front, and he was number 2.
Yeah,
But my point is, he was there. I mean, ordinarily people wouldn't say nothing. You had folks sitting up in there, they wouldn't say a word.
No,
You got my point? But at least he said something, and that's the start to solving the problem, because they do have institutional racism at the county. They really have a
they
problem.
do, but
Oh,
I
yeah.
guarantee Loretta's called Deborah a bitch before.
Yeah,
They
okay.
call. You know how these people argue? That's why I can't wait for him to get up there. You know how these people argue? It's going to be weird having the tall black man in the room arguing with all these small white folks.
Well, I'm gonna be there too.
Yeah,
That's gonna be an interesting
Dude,
deal.
they
that's
call
gonna
each,
be-
That's gonna be interesting.
Oh,
deal.
yeah, that's
all
gonna be
call
right.
each other names. I mean, they love each other, but you know,
Oh, yeah, they do,
like
yeah.
brother and sister
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean? Trust me.
Yeah.
Trust me. Loretta has called Deborah a bitch before. She just didn't get caught with the hot mic.
Oh, I think that they, especially the way she brushed it off, you can just tell that they do that all the time.
They do that all the time.
That's why,
And they're both A-type personality women. I mean, we're talking. I mean,
they're huge.
They don't hold up the wall. You know what I'm talking about? They scrap. You know, Deborah's a good leader.
The other three don't say nothing.
Yeah.
In fact, I don't even think they're there.
Oh, you're talking about the three commissioners?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I don't think they want to get involved.
They're still OJT and on-the-job training.
Yeah,
they're still in boot camp. They're still in boot camp.
Yeah.
Let me go back to another point with reference to the whole issue of police aspect of it. What do you think? You know Harry Jackson. Remember Harry?
Yeah, the police talking about the police sergeant.
And he was from the area, so to speak. Well, you think about Harry. Harry was really community policing. I mean, he was a guy who could get out of his car. He could drive by himself. He knew everybody out there on the streets aspect of it. He had no problem. There was always respect.
That's why I named the corner of Alberta and MLK after him.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think about something like that? Is this something you might encourage the mayor to consider coming back with that same profile? Find some more Harry Jacksons?
Oh, yeah. I think that the mayor should have a specific group of police that actually interact with the African American community that is just like literally not even part of what they have going on. And I've actually talked to him. I sent them emails to try to get this going, and they ignored me. They called me about the housing. They're like, oh, we know you have a housing plan, guaranteed housing plan. That's what they hit me back about.
But this is Wheeler you're talking about now?
I'm talking about Mayor Wheeler, yeah. I emailed all of the commissioners off. I even emailed Koffary, Loretta Smith, all of the county commissioners. I've all tried to.
They didn't respond to you.
None of them.
Wow.
None of them.
But that's why I'm running. See, I would have responded. If not that, I would have already instituted the program.
Yeah, there you go. That's what I'm saying. Because you could. I mean, there's definitely a way to go about policing the community better, and I think it starts with, instead of just going and getting somebody and training them to think a certain way towards people, how about you go get a well-known gang member and put him in a police suit and tell him, go protect your community instead of taking away from your community.
That could happen.
No, I don't like that idea.
Well, no, but in the Marine Corps, that's what you did in boot camp. I recruited folks, but then they changed at the end of the deal.
No, I want some black person from the community.
Right. Okay.
But they're going to have to be out of gangs for a while before I trust them to do that.
Okay.
There's too much information.
Well, we do a pre-deal. My point, I guess the point that I'm making is that there's got to be some way of where folks can respect the person that's now doing police work.
Oh no, that's why I say, because think about it this way, the youth are so concerned with gang and looking at the weird hair and all this crazy stuff. For them to be able to see somebody go from that lifestyle to immediately going to have to protect and represent something different, I think that would be something amazing.
Well, that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing now.
You know what I mean?
Chuck,
that's the aspect I look at it. You can have somebody respectable from the community overseeing them to make sure they stay on the right path. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, see, in all due respect, that's why I reached out to you, because when I saw you, what's the first thing I said? Man, you need to get a blue check.
Oh, yeah, you need to get a blue check.
Remember that? And then I thought about it. I said, no, hell, he filed that way. He should be himself. I've got to set the example. You understand what I mean?
Yeah,
I got to set the example. That's my job.
Oh yeah.
You got my point? And then as time goes, you do it on your own. Because as if to say, well, if I can't prove the fact that it's a better situation to deal with the issues you have, why change? You understand what I mean? Maybe I should change with you. And that could happen too. No, but that's a point that I wanted to make out to him, because I did. I went up to him and said, look, why don't you go down to GW where I get my stuff? You know what I'm saying? Get a tie, whatever, right?
Yeah.
And then, I said that, right?
Yeah, you almost had me popping out opening up the old box of stuff.
I did. But then after a while, I thought about it. I said, well, no, wait a minute. He can't just transition down there. I got to prove the point. That's why I'm saying, as far as males like you and I, Fred, we've got to set the example. I mean, you hear a lot of this stuff about mentorship and from African American males, if you will, and also role models, right?
No, definitely.
Well, then be a role model. You know what I mean? And make sure that, because people resist any rapid change.
Oh, they definitely
unless
do.
They're sincere too.
Oh,
See?
yeah.
That's why I'm saying about bringing the Harry Jackson thing back to the table. The idea is to find the Harrys who were there. Because remember, Harry's motivation, as I saw it, because Bernard Plummer and I were the one that motivated him, because we lobbied to get him on the police force because he was too short and he didn't have a degree. We did that. Bernard Plummer and I. Okay, and so he got on.
Now Bernard Plummer too.
Brenna Plummer, Herman's niece.
Herman's niece.
Yeah, Herman's niece, and she's very active. In fact, she's still living today, but she's very active or whatever. She was very active during that time, and so we were just kind of like working together and this, that, and the other. And so there was Harry and some of the other folks that didn't. So as a result of that, Harry got on. He got to be one of the best cops there was, but it was all about community policing, and community policing is very, your working area.
Yeah,
Just like Don DuPay always made the point about the fact he knew what Northeast Portland was all about because he knew the people.
Yeah, the first cop show came out the year he was born.
Yeah.
The very first show had Harry Jackson on it.
Yes. See
It
what I'm
did.
saying?
Yeah, because he was such a good representative of the community.
Yeah.
He knew how to
He
conduct
was.
himself. Yeah,
Well, he knew the community.
Yeah, he knew
And the
everything
community
too.
know him.
Yeah,
He couldn't hide.
That's right. You got me?
Yeah,
I
he
mean,
showed up
that's
at people's houses.
Exactly. So he'd basically say, if you see somebody drunk down the way walking around, he said, get in the car, get them in the car, and take them home.
Exactly.
That's the kind of so that's the kind of attitude. But a lot of times, what happens is that normally the people who are in charge today, they've never been there. They've never had their
No,
hands.
the first
you
thug,
shoot first, and then you ask questions.
Right.
the first thug that tried to break my mom's house, I was gonna go down and lay a serious butt whooping on him and his brothers and stuff. I was mad.
I remember that.
as hell.
I remember that.
You know what I mean? Because my mom,
Yeah,
that's my mom's
yeah,
house. You know what I'm talking
yeah,
about?
yeah.
And Harry is the one that made me stop.
Yeah.
You know, also took my gun,
Yeah.
but that's another story.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
But
yeah.
this boy tried to break my mom's house. So Harry tells me, Fred, let me take care of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I knew Harry could because Harry knew, where these guys live.
Yeah. Right.
And I was mad. I was still in the Marines then.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, why
Right.
should I let you do it?
Right,
Because,
right.
they're not going to learn.
Right.
You know what I'm
Exactly,
talking about?
exactly.
And I hope his mom's there.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Because I'm going
Exactly.
to give her a fright too.
Exactly.
And but Harry says, I know where they live. Mm-hmm. Let me talk to him. I was, 23 at the time?
Mm-hmm.
You know what guys like 23?
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Whole different
And my
ballgame.
mom was scared. And that hurt. You know, when your mom and your sister and stuff, I still get mad about it. But what I'm trying to say is Harry, being the cop that he was, said, Fred, I know how you feel. I know where they live too. You know what I'm talking about? Let me go down and I'll talk to him. And I'll deal with him. He arrested the boy that tried to break in and everything. But, he also got the message across.
You got the message. Yeah.
Because I said, Harry, I am not going to Norway.
Yeah.
Worrying about my mom and dad.
That's right.
You know
I
what I'm
hear
saying? My
that.
mom, brother, and sister.
Yeah.
It ain't happening.
Yeah.
It just ain't happening. But Harry did take care of it. He did. He was right. He handled it right. I was in the wrong. You know what I'm talking about? But you know how it is when you care about your family. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Harry cared about everybody.
Yeah.
And that's how Harry addressed it.
That's right. That's right.
But you can ask them to this day. I did not expect the day to end the way it did.
Yeah.
I mean, that was my mom.
Oh man, hey.
I think they
that was
just
some
figured,
serious stuff. That
she's
was
just an
serious
old
stuff.
black lady.
Yeah.
They want.
Oh yeah. Well, along that same line, that happened to me right there on the corner of Shaver and MLK. Because when I opened up the military deal aspect of it, you get to know everybody. I was in the Marine Corps recruiter, but I knew everybody in the community. And it just so happened somebody broke in the building one day. Busted out that glass door window aspect of it. And so I went right next door to the Burger Barn. What's my man's name? What was his nickname? Oh, you know what I'm talking about.
I forgot. My grandfather wouldn't let me meet him.
But anyway, I saw him. He basically he was running his little place, and I told him about the deal. And 3 days later, some dudes came over, cleaned up all the glasses, and had a contractor put the window back,
Oh, nice.
and it was done. You see what I'm saying? But it's respect. And then from that point on, nobody messed around with nothing, and that's why I could walk all over the place. Night, daylight, whatever, because I knew the people, I knew the terrain. And some of those guys I even put in the Marine Corps.
Now, we were talking earlier. There's something you brought up earlier. I want you to explain it to Bruce's viewers again. You were talking about auditing, bases of the county to make
Right.
sure the services are going to the right people. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, good.
Oh yeah. I mean, you can look at it from programs that are trying to give
Speak up,
people.
speak up a
You
little
can
bit.
give it to programs that are trying to give people money for businesses. I mean, after school programs.
Yep.
I mean, you can. It's just all through it. I mean,
Yes.
it's just like a royalty program. When you look at the funds and the contracts and how everything's being spent, what they're doing, and so on and so forth. I mean, there has to be an audit because they're just basically just giving money away just because nobody, like I said, nobody wants to say they failed. Nobody wants to own up to the fact that this may have failed, that we have to start from scratch, or we have to bring a new idea to the table and fund that. You know what I mean? Scrapping ideas. Nobody wants to do that because everybody has their baby. You know, just like Deborah Coffey has a baby, just like Ted Wheeler has his baby. You know, housing is Ted Wheeler's baby, but he's not doing a good job. You know, homelessness is Coffey's baby, but she's closed the homelessness shelters. You know what I mean? So, I mean, you have to audit because where's all this money going? You know what I mean? You literally look at that, you're like, wait a minute, where's all this money going that you say you set aside for that? If you're closing stuff, and you said you set aside this money, then where did the money go? That's when you're
So
like,
basically,
okay,
you would make sure that the programs that the taxpayers' money is invested in
oh, definitely
are effective,
Right.
and are producing positive results.
Oh, definitely.
And if they're not effective, if they're not producing positive results, you're all for cutting them off.
Oh, definitely.
And investing in programs that do.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, that's just like there's just like you sell houses, right? Mm-hmm. So why would I continue to have this man, sell houses that doesn't know what he's doing? If I have a person over here that knows what he's doing, but I've been working with him so long, I don't want to let it go. Of course I got a relationship with this person. I got a friendship with this person, but this isn't my money. You know what I mean? I'm an investor. I'm investing other people's money. You know what I mean? So I have to make the decision, besides the friendship that I have, to switch to you because I'm using other people's money. So I can't continue to just throw other people's money down the drain because of my friendship. I got to respect those other people and do what's right for them.
Wow.
Hey, that's
29 years old.
Hey, that's a heavy piece. But
Heavy.
on that particular note, I might add a little bit from my standpoint because I've seen that process going again, like you, for quite some time. But my concept would be, okay, fine. Once I find out there's a need, if you will, you put the contract out, and somebody comes in and says, "This is how I'm going to perform the contract aspect." But also included in that deal of payment, I'm going to pay you half the money. I'm not going to pay you the full amount of money in increments based on how much you do for a certain period of time. So at the end of the day, the accomplishment will be toward the contract, and the people will understand it. So you don't get paid until that piece is done.
Exactly.
So there might be 5 different stages, but at the first stage, until it might be a deadline. But if you haven't completed it at that particular deadline, we're going to have to hold up. And it just goes on to the next one. But you're still in number 1. So at the end of the day, you may have only completed 2 out of 5, and you'll only get paid for 2.
Exactly.
You don't get paid for the whole 5.
That makes sense.
You know what I'm
That
saying?
makes sense.
That's just common sense.
Yeah.
You don't pay them before they get the job done.
Now, what's your position in Wapato?
My position on Wapato is the same as Bruce's, homeless shelter, and train them to be workers. You know what I mean? Like, of course, they all like to say, "Oh, it's way off in the city." Well, we're public transportation, or we can dedicate a bus or buses from the county, transportation from the county, to make sure people get back and forth to where they need to go to, at least within city limits. The max. The 75 that goes all the way out there to the north or whatever. You know what I mean? So there should definitely be a homeless shelter, and it should be a training center too. You know what I mean? Because them being able to train those people and get those people working and get that tax dollars back into the system.
Right,
You know what I
right.
mean? And they're no longer using the system tax dollars. They're actually out of the system. They've completely removed themselves from needing government services or any kind of help from the government, and they're putting back into it. Now you're creating a cycle of getting people out of this situation instead of putting them into it.
That's good. I like that.
That's 29 years old.
29. That's what I'm saying. I was
Damn.
impressed. I
Damn.
was impressed. I mean, yeah. In all respect, I know that if he doesn't get elected, and I'm fortunate to get elected, I'm gonna bring him on board. I'm gonna bring him on board. And let him be part of my staff. I mean, that's
And
what
no
it's
matter
all
how
about.
many votes you get, like I said, if you win, follow through.
Oh, definitely.
If you don't win,
follow through.
follow through.
There you go.
understand? Because every vote I've ever gotten, I've always looked at those votes as a mandate for me to keep going. You understand?
Oh, yeah.
Those people are investing in you. You don't let them down. You understand?
Oh, yeah.
So no matter what, you keep going.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna keep going.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
gonna keep fighting. Like I said, before this, the city of Portland hated me.
You're very
so-
lucky at your age to have the insight that you got and the experiences and how you've taken the experiences you've gone through. You understand what I'm talking about? And you're pushing them to a point where you're using that energy, that wisdom
Right.
that you've gained for something positive. You understand what I'm talking about? You got a very old spirit, like the older black leaders. You understand? Who did the same thing. So keep going. You understand? Now, what is your Facebook page? What is it called?
Chuck Crockett for Multnomah County Chair.
Say it louder, man.
Chuck Crockett for Monoma County Chair.
Yeah, come on,
all
you
right.
got like a young Barry White voice. You gotta use
I
it.
wish
Don't
I had
be
the Barry
afraid.
White. The
Yeah,
Barry
but-
White.
Well, Barry White
got it.
sounded.
You got it.
Barry White sounded like you at 29.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's right.
Now,
really?
by the time you're my age,
I might be able to get the Barry White
Exactly.
on. Then. So I can do that.
Say it again to everybody. And
Chuck Crockett
and
from
he's
Monoma
single.
County Chair.
He's single. Okay.
Chuck
Say it
Crockett.
again.
Chuck Crockett from Monoma County Chair.
Now, what's your phone number?
503-519-0815.
What's your email?
DANAWICK78@gmail.com.
All right.
All right.
Okay. Good. Good. Well, like I said, you can get out and vote for you.
Oh, yeah.
That's the name of the game. That's what it's all about.
Oh,
You got me?
definitely, man.
Okay.
It's a-
Now, I'm sure you're gonna probably have a little feel for the seniors, you know, and the senior citizen. You know, I mean, the senior citizen and the vets and this, that. And
Oh,
that.
definitely.
That's what I bring to the table. You
Oh,
know what I'm
yeah.
saying? So you know.
That's where I got all this, this knowledge from.
You got here. You got a businessman right here in real estate. He's been in real estate, and he changed the
Oh,
community.
then real estate when I was his age.
That's right. That's right.
Matter of fact,
you know, I knew that.
I was selling real estate when
That's
he was
right.
born.
Isn't that
Oh,
something?
Yeah, I've been in real estate. I got in real estate when I was 23
Isn't that something?
in September of 1988.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's the only good thing that happened in 88.
Wow.
I actually got married that year too.
I was born in May '88.
I got married in February of 88.
Oh, Lord.
Wasn't
Yeah,
that
look at
something?
it.
Yeah. 88 was kind of a good year.
Yeah, right,
But I got
right.
into real estate.
And then some.
Second half of the year.
I remember-
Second half was better than the first
I
half.
remember when he got in. Boy, it would have been huge if you and I had gotten together at the same time.
Yeah.
Boy, we would have been
I
building.
mean, I hit real
buildings.
estate hard.
I know that.
Hard.
I
That's
mean,
all I thought about.
That's what.
Morning, noon, and night. Yeah, when he was born, that's all I could think about. I was
I
working
heard
at
that.
Fran's Bakery and
Yes.
hitting real
Hitting that
estate
real
as
estate.
hard as I
That's
could.
exactly how I feel, too.
Yeah.
I wake up in the morning, now I got to
Yeah.
do this and that. And
That's all I
Wow.
could think about.
It was a heavy piece. Well, anything else that you think that comes across your mind in terms of what are you want to share with the public out there in terms of what you plan to do as chair?
What I plan to do as chair, like I said, is to change everything and actually reconnect the people to their government and reconnect the people to the county. That's really all I want because, like you said, people feel so disconnected.
Right.
Like people get elected in office
Right.
and they get the on-the-job training
Right.
and they're on. Nobody knows what they're on anymore. You
Right.
know what I mean? Just like, people ask for resignations. You get crowds of people asking for resignations of commissioners and mayors and the chair. And they just go, oh, whatever. You know what I mean? I don't want people to feel that way. I want people to know that I'm connected to the people. And that's where I come from, is being a normal citizen, a person, living the life and experiencing the same thing that they're experiencing. That it's coming from their government.
Now, do you think there could be a different government in Portland? The government for white people and the government for black people based on how they treat us? You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
Do you think, when you talk about being connected, because trust me, county's connected to an awful lot of white people.
Oh,
They're
no, I
happy
know.
with it.
Oh, no, I know.
I mean,
And then-
especially white women. I know a lot of white women. Beautiful. County's awesome. It works so well for me and my family. You know, it's
That-
like they don't care it doesn't work for the black folks.
Oh no, it's not just that. Because like I said, a lot of my voters are white. You know what I mean? They come from everywhere. So, they know what I'm trying to do is literally just advance the county. Like I said, we can't advance as a country or anywhere unless we can do away with the old policies, the way we treat black people, the way we treat
Poor white people.
poor white people. You know what I mean? Now
They they're treated like rich black people.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta change that whole aspect of everything. Like I
Yeah.
said, one thing I mentioned to the Oregonian when they interviewed me is, there needs to be some kind of festivals. You know what I mean? There needs
like
to
the
be
Bud
some,
Clark deal.
yeah, there needs to be kind of
Yeah, that
festivals
was
where
fun.
we
That
as
was
county, we as county as officials go
Yeah,
out there
Bud, yeah,
and we're doing
yeah,
stuff
Bud
for the
Clark.
people and they are actually connected to us.
Yeah,
Because there's not anything going
yeah.
on right now, any government official where the public, they go out with the public
Yeah.
and actually enjoy the company of the people that elected them
yeah.
to be in office.
Yeah,
Wow.
and it pays for itself too.
It does pay.
It does pay for itself, yeah.
Like I said, you got all of
It does pay.
You got the venues and all that kind of stuff that's there.
Getting people out to meet
connect,
each other.
Then you get the money to pay for it.
Oh, exactly.
The
That's what I
Coliseum is
said,
closed. It's open. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm just trying to, bring it something in, bring it new.
Yeah.
We've been living in this old exclusion law way of living since the day this country, not the country, but I'll say the country, but the state,
Good.
it's been in. So I want to change that. I want to completely
Good.
veer that off. You know what I
Good.
mean? And
Good.
it's and once people see that and they understand that, and they understand the facts, and they'll know. And they'll see that, and they'll be
Okay.
like, okay, this is definitely how things should be.
Okay.
They'll under because people are so used to this way of government that they're afraid of things changing in a better way, even though it's a better way. They're just like, oh no,
I agree with you, but let me ask you this: why aren't you afraid?
because I know it's better. You know, and the people that know me and the people I talk to and engage with, they know it's better. They're like, oh, I never even thought that, you know, government can be like that. And they're like, why aren't you the chair already? And I'm like, well, because there's somebody already there, you know what I mean? You got to go through election process, you know, and they're like, I never even thought about that as far as getting that from the government official.
Yeah.
And that's really what I like to hear, you know, like I never thought that that could be possible, but it is possible. It just comes from the person.
Right. Well, I tell you what, on that particular note, you notice we said, what did it say there? Together we can do better.
Oh, definitely.
That's
I
what we
support that.
You
Yeah,
like that? You
I like that.
bro?
Yeah, I like
Well,
that.
I'll share that brand with you. How's that?
Definitely.
Together we can do better.
Oh,
Okay,
definitely.
Chuck, it's been a pleasure.
Oh, thank you.
Now Mother's Day is next week, so we want you got to come back down here.
Oh, definitely.
Next week,
Come back.
okay?
Oh,
And we're gonna
definitely.
talk about the county thing again.
Talk about your mom too.
Yeah, you're gonna call.
Oh
her
yeah,
out. That
yeah.
day.
You know, I make my mom 7 croquettes
You
all
do?
the time. Yeah, I make them
You
handmade.
cook for your mom?
I cook them all the time.
Awesome, awesome.
Oh yeah, I'll tell you guys about
we-
a story how I go to be such a good cook
We're
and
getting ready
everything
to close
next
right
week.
now. Next week.
Next
next
week.
week.
That's Mother's
Next
Day.
week.
Oh, that's what I said next week.
Okay, all right. Okay, folks, there you go. Hey, there's my man, Chuck Crockett. He's running for chair of Multnomah County. Interesting young man. He's got some good ideas. Well, wisdom-wise.
Yep.
Okay. Thanks again, Chuck.
Okay.
Fred, it's always a pleasure. Let's stick around. Can you stick around for a minute? Okay, good.
You did very
All right,
good, man.
Okay, did very good.
I thank
Okay,
you
Chuck.
for-
All right, we'll be right back. Okay.
But you gotta let
You are watching Oregon Voters Digest. This program can be seen again on these channels on these dates and times. Tell a friend.
Okay, welcome back again to Oregon Voters Digest. I'm Bruce Broussard, your host. And guess what, folks? We're nearing. We got about 7, 8, 9 days. That's it. That's it. Mother's Day is next week. And then that's 2 days when you drop these babies in. I got mine squared away. I'm going to,
You're voting twice?
I'm voting twice.
You're voting
No,
twice?
I'm not. My wife's doing one. She did her own thing.
Oh, okay.
And then I did my own thing. But, my point is that I'm not going to send mine in until the last minute. You know that.
Now, do you think you earned your wife's vote?
No. That's what I'm saying. I'm preaching. That's why I'm praying right now. So say nice things to her, will you? You can do that
Well, it's
thing.
already. She's already voted. I
Oh,
can't
boy, I tell
convince
you.
it.
No, but I sometimes if I change my mind, I'll just put it under the old steam job, fix it up and pull it out and say, oh, I don't like so-and-so. You know what I'm saying? Because Deborah's on there now. See, I'm going to figure out what's happening here. Okay? All right, good. Well, look here. What we're going to do this time around, I'm going to get Fred to interview me for a moment. He's a hard charger aspect of it, and we got Deborah in the house. We might give her 5 minutes at the end of the day routine. She's so tough. You know what I'm saying? Being the chair, she's got to try to get a feel for how she's going to relate to me when I'm sitting up there in that position number 2 aspect of it. Got me? Because I may look like I'm a
Bruce,
expert or
Bruce.
whatever. You know what I'm saying? What's that?
No disrespect to Deborah. This is all you.
Is that what it is?
It's all you.
Well, I'm glad she's sitting there right there so she can see.
This is all you.
Is that what I mean?
She's going to be on next week.
Oh yeah, okay, good.
All right.
Go on. Come
Now,
on.
Bruce-
Talk to me. What's up?
Bruce, you know how I feel about you. There's not many black leaders left like you. And, all of our friends, white and black out there, know that because they look at the way the media and union leaders and stuff like that treat you. These white guys, these white people, they don't know how to deal with a black person that's got a heart like yours and a mind like yours and experience like yours. So what I want to do is share with people one of the many reasons why what. Well, I know. I'm not saying that some white people don't like Bruce. my whole
That's
point.
another Marine there,
Yeah,
too.
there's another Marine
That's
giving me a
another
hard
Marine.
time.
That's another Marine
No,
sitting up
no. What we've got in this
And our
town,
crew, you know, got to make sure.
we've got a lot of very racist people in our media.
Well,
hold it.
Well, that's the whole
We
idea.
got a
about getting
lot of
elected.
very racist people in our union
Okay,
heads,
all right.
and we got. But the thing is, they don't share the information truly about who you are and what you bring. So
Well, that's why I'm running.
that's what we're going to share
That's
right
why
here
I'm
with
running.
people.
That's why I'm running.
And this is why white people and black people should vote for Bruce, okay? And ignore our union leaders because they're all racist white guys and women, and ignore our union leaders and stuff. Just ignore them. Now, Bruce, there's something that I tell people all the time that just shakes me about how you've affected Oregon, and that is when you helped create 34 years ago a district that gave a minority numerically an opportunity to win. It wasn't a fait accompli, but it gave it an opportunity for a minority to win.
Right.
And it was originally called District 18. What is it called now?
43.
43. And it started out, we got Margaret Carter, who's a black woman. Who
started out initially with a white guy.
Yeah, with a white guy. I'm sorry, with a
Ed
white
Leak.
guy.
Ed Leak,
Ed
that's
Leak.
right.
Then it went to a
Neighbor
black
man.
woman. But the thing is, today, in the year 2018, a Native American
Native
woman.
American, that's right.
The first one in Oregon
That's
history.
right, that's right.
The only one down in the house.
That's right. That's right.
You understand?
That's right.
And guys, just because this district has been made in a way in which a minority could win, it's not a fait accompli. White people have won it about as often as black people have. But it shows that of all of the districts in Oregon, it's the one that's got the most community spirit. And that's why we've had black people and white people and now a Native American.
And very qualified.
All right. Now what made you do that?
Well, in all due respect, I'll be right up front with you. When I came to this town, you know, typically, well, where's the black community? They tell you, even my command, and it says over there. Over there, where? It's up there in northeast Portland. I looked at the map and I said, gee, northeast is all over. But it's a huge black community here, boy. I mean, looking at the boundaries, northeast Portland. And then all of a sudden they said, no, it's just this little spot right here, that type of routine. So I said to myself, well, then I sort of got into the Nova because I was a recruiter. I was involved in all kinds of things. And then later on I got into business and whatever. And I said, wait a minute here. And then during that time with the federal government, all the federal monies, every state in the union had a northeast Portland. From that particular period. I said, well, gee, we need an address. And because they use the so-called black community to talk about housing and unemployment and this, that, and that. At the end of the day, millions and millions of dollars are spent, but people are still unemployed. And no home ownership.
Because they had no representative.
They had no representative. But the money was coming in here, and the money was spent elsewhere. So the name of the game is that I went about, when I owned the Portland Observer newspaper, the idea was to rally up the community, told them what the deal was. It wasn't just a Bruce deal. It was a community effort type routine. I just led the charge because I was involved in politics at that time. Went down to the legislature, got in touch with the T and all those guys, and then we basically came up, put an address on it. Put an address on it. It was District 18. And I told them exactly what it was. And in fact, some of the politicians didn't like it because they called it a black district. I said, no, it's not a black district. It's a district where a number of the residents happen to be black. They have to be just as qualified, if not better. Got me? But the chances would be better. And it happened.
It happened.
It happened, and it was for everybody.
And we've had black and white people represent that district, and now a Native American
That's
woman,
right.
the only one. Now think about it. There's all the Native American history there is in Oregon.
Isn't that something?
And all the Native Americans we got living in Oregon.
Yep.
It was this district
Yep.
that's got a Native American representative in it.
Yep.
And that's what I'm trying to say. It all started from you 34 years ago. Now let's go on to another thing I know you did. Everybody, the Portland Police Station in Northeast MLK. When that came in, I was president of King Neighborhood. You remember that?
I remember that.
And Bruce came to me with this idea of putting together a community committee where PDC, who was ultimately in charge of developing that project, had to come to the community every week and discuss the progress and thus learn how to develop the values of the community.
Exactly.
And the community said they wanted commercial
That's right.
as well as the police.
That's right.
And they wanted to see minority businesses in
Exactly.
there.
Exactly.
What was the outcome of that, Bruce?
Well, the outcome of it was that we got that facility, but there was another piece of the package. You know, there was the senior citizen outlet aspect over there, and then there was the Blazer through the Boys and Girls Club. And I just happened to know the chairman of the Boys and Girls Club, who was a friend of mine, Marine type, because they was going to put it up. They was going to locate it in North Portland, up in that area. And I convinced him. I said, "Look here, gee whiz, we can really get a diversity kind of a deal. We got District 18 over there. Parents would feel safe, if you will, because the police department is right there. And the whole idea was, okay, fine. So that was that package all there too. But in all due respect, what I really wanted to have seen there, because you were there. I still have that tape.
Yeah.
I watched that tape. I got that video right now today.
Yep, we should play it here one day.
We're going to definitely play it. But the idea was that my thought was to have the police have an open door to the police department to come out in a foyer kind of a deal so they could eat with the public. Have several businesses within the deal, and then have a stage, for any time media came over, and then give senior citizens an opportunity to be sitting in there having their cup of coffee. You got me? They had no place, because I remember when Fred Myers was there, many seniors would go there just to have a cup of coffee. When they tore it down, there was none. Even when they gave it to the Urban League, they didn't do anything with it, aspect of it. And so I said, well, gee whiz. Well, anyway, remember we talked about that. I still have the plans today. I have the renderings right now today at my house, and so that was the whole idea, was keep it there, community. The other thing I wanted to do, the parking lot. You had cover there, and before I went there, I used to work for U.S. Bank. And U.S. Bank, I was part of that team that put down the downtown market. U.S. Bank did that when I was working for them up in their marketing department aspect of it. And so I said, well, why not have a kind of a same deal, a Saturday market in Northeast Portland, right under the deal there. Use it, it's covered area aspect of it. People could bring tables in there. Seniors and others could bring their wares and sell this way. Very safe kind of an environment, no problem, whatever. But that naturally hasn't happened yet.
No.
Suggested, but hopefully it will.
Now, Bruce, another thing that you've done that a lot of people don't know, because like I said, our media is not going to talk about it. You've actually built housing yourself.
Right.
You built that apartment building that's behind the police station in Northeast Portland, right? And you built it in the early 80s when the interest rates were as high as 20%. How did that come about? I mean, you built an apartment building that over the last 37 years has housed thousands of people affordably.
Well,
You've actually built affordable housing, sustainable affordable housing.
Well, in all due respect, Fred, I saw it coming when I came here and I saw that real estate right on the water. I said, it's just going to be a matter of time. This is going to be the most expensive. Well, you were part of that too. And that was going to be the most expensive. And so the idea of the rush was, how do we keep those homes that are already there? This was old Portland, beautiful houses, the structure and whatever. So the idea was, okay, fine. I was already in the housing business aspect of it. Why not build a senior citizen condominiumized type of situation, bring the urban leg over there at the bottom aspect of it, and take the old folks out of their houses, put them in that arena, condominium, they could still own aspect of it, and put a young family in the house. And that to me made a lot of sense.
It does.
So what I did, I liquidated everything that I owned, because you're right, it was hard to get in, and I ended up basically going to HUD and did a Section 8 type of deal, but it took a lot of money, and I got that thing done. I was going to build a whole block, 172 units. The whole idea is to have some safety right in the middle. But naturally, I can remember the mayor at the time, it was Neil, just so happened, that when I got in on the private end of it, I couldn't get a bank to finance Section 8. Isn't that something? I couldn't get a bank to, I couldn't.
Well, a lot of banks don't like financing Section 8
but
now.
I'm just saying, but I eat community. You hear all the whole cry about let's build low-income housing. Where are the minority contractors and the business? And I fitted all of those deals. Nobody knocked on my door. So my wife knows how I am. I just say, I'm going to do it. I said, let's liquidate this property. Forget about it. We don't need no history. We don't need no retirement. Let's just do it.
And
So
it's still there.
Still there.
Nobody running for office right now. The time when we need some people to work on critical housing policy, you're the only one with a housing background. Now, let me ask you this. You also was another type of business owner. You owned Norman's Kitchen, which was located in Jansen Beach. So any of you who've been to Jansen Beach, you may have noticed Norma's Kitchen. How long ago did you start that up? And, tell us about it.
Well, straight up was 12 years ago. That's my wife's deal. She loves to cook. She's kind of a dietitian in her own right aspect of it.
So that's another thing, too. The man supports his wife.
Oh yeah, big time.
He supports his
Oh,
woman.
yeah, huge. And I mean, I got a neat lady, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you do.
I eat well, okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, she takes good care of you.
She takes good care of me.
She's a good person.
So she said she had a dream. She had a dream. She would love to have had a restaurant in her name, Norma's Kitchen. Not Bruce's, because I'm out there doing my thing. She said, I want something before we get to the point we couldn't do it. I said, no problem. I came back 2 days later. I went and rented that little spot because I live on the island. It was vacant. It had been vacant for 2 years because no one could maintain it, couldn't do anything with it. I got it, and we opened up. I painted it. I went inside and cleaned it up myself, painted the whole deal, put some chairs and tables. She put that, we did the old Creole because it was Creole. We did good gumbo and catfish and things of that nature. Opened up that spot. I did the selling. She did the cooking. It was a two-man shop, so to speak. And then I got Eugene Richard to come over there and do the music aspect of it. He did a hell of a job.
How many employees did you have?
Well, in all due respect, I had 3. And I was always there.
So think about it, friends. He's created jobs. He's built housing. He developed policy to where we have a minority, in this case, a Native American,
Oh, yeah.
in the house.
Very proud
Because
of that.
she would not be there if it wasn't for this man. There's a lot of people she can thank for helping her get there and everything, and she earned it. She ran against Phillips, a black woman.
Oh, yeah.
Two very smart women,
But she earned
great
it.
race, and she earned it.
She earned it.
But that was when I watched that go down. I go,
Hey.
how come the media isn't talking about Bruce?
That's right.
You got a black woman and a Native American woman going head to head.
That's right.
You understand?
That's right.
Two leaders.
That's right.
In their own right.
That's right.
In this case, the Native American one,
right.
but she earned it. She earned it, and
You
she's
look at
done a
her
good job.
resume.
And
You look at her resume. I mean, she's been there 20 years
Yeah.
or so. She got very much involved in community and this,
Yeah.
that, and the other. Hey, she earned the right.
yeah,
It's very simple.
But what I'm saying is that opportunity would not have existed, Bruce, if it hadn't have been, for you and your tenacity.
Well, Fred, in all due respect, I've never bragged about anything. My wife knows. I just get up in the morning and try to figure out what do I want to do. And I've been here over 40 years
Well,
in this town. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's what I was saying on your show, Bruce. Why it's a lot of bad habits that got to go. Black people, friends, especially the older crowd, they don't like to talk about themselves, and they don't like to talk about what they've done because they're worried that somebody white is going to come in and ruin it or take it, and that's got to end. That's why a lot of these people who've let me down. I'm 53. I grew up in Portland. I got friends all over the state, black and white, everything. I'm not racist at all, but I'm done with anybody white I feel is racist, and I'm done with anybody that loves them. Done.
Yeah.
And the fact that you may not have heard this stuff in this race, there's only one reason you haven't heard about it, friends, and that is because a lot of the people that we trust in media, trust in politics, they are David Duke racist lowlifes. And I'm telling you, it hurts because this man has done so much that's made Portland better. And they won't admit it because they're afraid of offending white people. Not you white people, but the white people that run our media and run our unions. But the reason why there's so many black people today involved in politics, including me, goes back to this man and his selfless commitment to the community. He's dragged us all along. All the things that I've done, friends, in this town, all the houses, all the programs I've held, everything.
Yeah,
I want you to understand, a lot of it goes right back to Bruce setting the table for guys like me to be involved. And guess what? Not one white person that you trust in the Oregonian, Willamette Week, Portland Tribune, Portland Mercury, none of them think that's significant.
Well, no, they don't.
At all.
They look at it in a whole different way. In fact, I'm thinking about the last.
Should be
intro.
legal to hit him over the head with a bat.
You know what's interesting? What you just said there, the last entree with reference to an interview with us, and the last interview I was in, and in the Oregonian, I knew what they were going to do. I mean, it just got to the point, and I proved my point. I said one day they were gonna pick this one lady who didn't have the background of any of the folks that were running with me, the other 2 people, and it was 4 of us, but they interviewed them, and so I didn't show up at that interview, so I called them, and then they called me up, and they're trying to interview me over the phone. So guess what? And one thing I do know, I know what to do with Wapato. So I spent my time on the phone talking to this young lady about Wapato and a solution. At the end of the day, 2 days later, it comes out in the Oregonian. It just says one thing in the three sentence area. This 79-year-old man who's a perennial, who has run for everything in this town. That was it.
Yeah.
That was it. There was nothing, and
I know.
I'm just saying
That is classic David
no,
Duke.
but check this out. But see, the point,
That is classic David Duke right there.
The point I'm going to make is that they've got the voters pamphlet.
Yeah.
They've got interviews. They got the Tribune. They've
Yeah.
got this, and I can't go to the Scanning Observer. I used to own the Observer, but they don't. They want to relate to that. But my point is that they got all this material behind me, and yet still they're going to put that comment in the Oregonian. And I looked at the other. In all due respect, I looked at the other two blacks, and like even this young man that we had here. It was a very negative kind of a deal.
Bruce,
No respect.
this is why David Duke says Portland media, they wish they could be bold like him.
Well, we need
he
to
calls
change
them a
that.
bunch of hypocrites.
Yeah, but we need to change that.
he says they want to be just like me, but they're afraid to.
Well, they look here. I'm not afraid of anything.
I
you
know.
You know, we were born and raised, if you will, in the Marine Corps, so to speak. You know what I mean? And I have that. I'm an American. I feel very strong about that point. And so, since I have that kind of an attitude, I want to share that. That's why I try to. I like Deborah. I mean, the fact she's running for chair and she's very articulate. She's got a good background. I mean, she could easily take over that chair with no problem. I got Sharon, for instance. Sharon, she's good. She's just as great. She could do with no problem. But my point is that I'm saying maybe a little rough edge or whatever. But like I said to them, both of them, while we were sitting up there while we were interviewing, I said, look here, if I'm successful, I'm going to hire all of them.
Well,
in
Bruce,
fact, I'm going to even hire Shushila because she doesn't know anything about the deal.
Bruce,
But-
if you get on there, just make it legal in Multnomah County for 1 day a month to go down and pimp slap an editor or a union head.
well, then they'll be all there on me.
No, they won't,
They want to interview.
because I'll be there.
But they want to interview.
Yeah, no, I'll be
Then they'll
there.
interview with you.
They're not going to come down
Yeah, you
there.
do the interview because you'll be on the staff.
I mean, these people, they mislead the people I grew up with so much. See, friends, the reason why I don't like these guys, the reason why I hate them, you gotta remember, this is my hometown.
That's
I
right.
grew up
You
here.
grew here. You
And
born
these
raised.
guys go to work every day and lie to you.
You went to school with them.
I went to school with some of their cousins and stuff like that. They lie to you every day. They do their racist stuff every day,
Oh, yeah.
and I take that personally. And I gotta tell you, the only reason these people they're there, it's not enough of us run. And when I say
That's right.
us, I'm talking about
That's
people
right.
that think like
That's
us.
right. That's
Because
right.
these people are not as progressive as the voting public of Portland, Oregon.
Right.
Not one of these people running for office is actually a progressive champion. And you know why? If they got the endorsement of any of these people, they are not progressive. Because these guys do not support progressives. They don't. They are just racist, classist bastards.
I'll give you another.
And I'm ashamed of the women that work for Willamette Week.
Okay.
You're going to find out in the next week or two how shameful it is for females, especially with their mothers, to work at Willamette Week.
Oh, let me get that. Let me give you another piece along that same line. Now check this out. Now here's the media. I mean, here's the union. If anybody has done anything with SEIU, you know, right, I have. Remember that Chad
Yep.
called me up.
You've
one
always
day.
support them.
Chad called me up one day and said, "Hey, Bruce, they getting ready. Portland Public Schools getting ready to fire all of the custodians.
Yep.
Majority of them were black, right?
Yep.
And getting ready to get senior citizens.
Bruce, you've always supported SEIU.
Fired those folks, but guess what SEIU was doing? SEIU went down and got the undocumented workers
Yep.
to replace these senior citizens. I mean, these senior people picking up PERS, right? To get rid of them. Well, 2 years later, we won it. We got the people back on the job aspect of it. But this same union, it was said that as far as the endorsers and whatever, and I know all these guys anyway that work, and they said to me, "Well, Bruce, we've already this thing has been settled up in Seattle." Her sister, by the way, this woman who's running that the so-called majors have put together, have said, "Okay, fine, she's going to be the next Congress." She's a congressman. Her sister is, but the bottom line is the union told me, said, "Well, Bruce, tell you what." I said, "Well, look, why can't I buy? I like to buy an ad." He said, "Well, Bruce, I tell you what, the only way you can buy an ad is that you have to get one of these unions to endorse you." Can you do a joint endorsement? No, you got to have a union to endorse you. And I said, well, look, I'm looking at all, and these are all, some of these guys are friends. Their excuse basically right up, well, Bruce, you know, we got a young crowd coming in. And I naturally I said BS, but that's okay. But I took that one last piece to get in front of all of them across the board, and I chewed their butt out. And I said, by the way, from now on, if I'm elected at the county, there won't be no such thing as a so-called pre-apprentice. There's no such animal. It's apprentice program, and we're going to get some jobs.
Well, that's why I'm the way I am about unions.
Yeah.
You know, and like I said, friends, Bruce, look at his voters pamphlet. Look at the long list of things this man has done, and look at the positive impact he's had on Portland. And it's not been easy. He's had to work with people from all backgrounds, all types of agendas, all types of education, rich, poor, everything. And he's been able to succeed and make Portland a better place for us.
Well, let's get 1 minute. Get Deborah. Deborah, come on up
All
here.
right,
Stand up.
no.
Oh, yeah,
No, we're talking about you.
Okay, we're going to get on Mother's Day.
Because you're going to be talking to Deborah
Mother's
next
Day.
week.
Yeah, we're going to do Deborah.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to get Deborah
yeah.
next week. Okay, good.
All
No
right.
problem.
No.
But anyway.
Now, Bruce, another thing I got to ask you
Tom,
about.
what's up?
You know,
Right, right, right,
that a lot of people don't think about.
Yeah, good.
Wapato, you were the first one to talk about
Oh,
it over 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Over 4 years ago.
yeah.
And it fell on deaf ears on
Yeah.
all of our electeds. It fell on deaf ears for our editors. You know, they didn't care. They weren't into it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're now into it because it's the election cycle.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But imagine, friends, if Bruce had been on the county
Oh, it would've been done.
4 years ago.
Oh, we've been done. We wouldn't have folks on the streets because we'd have the beds.
Exactly.
And we'd be vetting them.
Exactly.
You got me? And we would have an ordinance on the books that said no litter.
Exactly.
They get picked up right off the bat.
Exactly.
And then basically they clean them up and then put them on the street to pick up that stuff.
Exactly.
Give them $15 an hour, $10 for overhead, and $5 in their bank account.
Yep.
Very simple.
Yep.
No problem.
See,
Yeah.
friends, think about it.
Fred, this has been
And
great.
Bruce was doing this four and a
Oh,
half
yeah.
years ago.
I was chairman of Inverness Jail, you know, for about 4 years at that point in time. And then Bernie Gusto did a couple shows here, and we talked about the same deal. That was years back. You know, and you know, hey, my point is, it can be done. But Herman is there now, and a lot of the other guys in the business community, they're there, and I think we're going to solve the problem. We are going to solve the problem, but they're going to need help at the county. They're going to need help at the county because right now the county, because they just don't know. They just don't have that background. But anyway, Fred, it's been a pleasure. Thank you
Bruce,
very much for the interview.
Very, very proud of you.
All right, sounds good. Sounds good, buddy. Okay, folks, back to what you believe in. Mother's Day next week, and make sure, don't forget, vote, 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 vote. Hey, folks, I'm Bruce Broussard, and as you might know, I'm running to be your next county commissioner. But I will continue to host our Oregon Voters Digest and will likely share my views on important issues here. And since this is going to be a very important election year for everyone, I'm opening this platform for other political candidates to share their views too. So, if whether you're also running for Multnomah County Commissioner or if you are going to be on the ballot in any other position in our viewing area, you are welcome to come on this show and tell us what you are all about. This is an open invitation to anyone running for any office in the Portland area. We broadcast our show live every Sunday afternoon here in Northeast Portland and would love to share the stage with you. If you're interested, send us an email at ovdguests@gmail.com. The email should be displayed on your screen now. So, come on down, write me an email, and tell me who you are, what position you're running for, and maybe a little about yourself. Again, our email is ovdguests@gmail.com. Even if you're not running for office, be sure to stay tuned over the next several months. You're going to want to know how your candidates stand on the issues and how they plan to represent you. Have a great week, folks. Everybody, I love you. Take care.